Let us try to solve the problem number 6 in the part A of third BCA C# and .NET lab. So this exercise is as follows. Write a program in C# to define a class called as salary, which contains the member variables such as the employee number, employee name, date of birth, basic salary. Write a program using a constructor, that is what is required, and a method to calculate DA, H.R.A gross net pay using appropriate condition. And the condition is if the basic is less than 20,000 and you have some condition, if the basic is greater than 20,000 you have some condition, and we are supposed to calculate the gross as well as net salary. After that, I don't know whether we are supposed to show that thing in the screen or not, but I'm going to show that thing on the screen. So I have the Visual Studio with me. I'm going to go to the file menu over here, and I'm going to click on new, and I'm going to select the project. When I select the project, Visual Studio is going to give me options, and if you have the Visual C# Express Edition, then you will see only this option, that is only the C# option. And if you have Visual Basic Express Edition, then you will see only this edition. In those cases, so start the Express Edition according to the requirement. Like if you have the C#, then only start the C#, otherwise start the Visual Basic Express Edition for the Visual Basic. So depends on what you have in your lab. So based on that, start it. In any case, you go to the Visual C# and select the console application. That's required. You select the console application, and then you click on the file name and change the file name as well as the location, but I'm not going to do that thing. You are supposed to do it. Once you have selected the console application, let's click OK, and the Visual Studio is going to create a project for you. In this project, we are supposed to create the salary. This is what they have said. Create a class called as salary. So I'm going to create a class called as salary. So I have the project still being created for me, and once it is created, you notice that Visual Studio is going to create a empty class called as program that contains the main method, but we want a class. So I'm going to go to the Solution Explorer here by clicking on the left hand side, or you can go to the project and select the solution, the view, and select the Solution Explorer. So once we have the Solution Explorer, I'm going to right click on this console application, whichever name that you have given to your project. This is the name. This will be the name of the project. Suppose if you have selected with the exercise 6 or anything, this will come. Right click on it and then say add, and then say new item. So this is what you're going to do. So right click on your solution, then click on the add, then click on the new item. So these things you will do it. Once it is done, let me do it one more time. So right click, go to the add and then new item, then select under C#, select the class as the option. You will notice that you have an option for selecting the class. Give it a appropriate name, and according to them we are supposed to call it as salary. So I'm going to just copy this and write it as it is. So this is what they expect me to do it. So I'm going to just call this one as salary. So that's salary, and once that is done, click add, and this will be added. Suppose if you look at the project, you will notice that salary.cs will be added to your project. And now let's look at what is that we are supposed to do it. And they said that this class will contain member variables. I'm going to just copy this stuff from here in order to reduce the time in typing. So I'm going to go over here. I think you can see this code. So I'm going to just say, because employee number is an integer, let's assume that it is an integer, and employee name will be string. So I'm going to say this is string, and let me put a semicolon, and let me put a semicolon, and the date of birth I'm going to take date time. Okay, so we have let's say date time. Okay, that will be the date of birth, and lastly we have the basic. Let me take it as double. Okay, highly precision value double. Okay, so that's done. You have so many things. These are all called as the member variable. That is what I have done. So containing the member variable, and I have created a member variable. And then they said create a constructor. So let me create a constructor. Now if you type CTOR, and this is the shortcut CTOR, okay, and double click, double tap, you will get the constructor. This is the blank constructor. So CTOR constructor short form, and then Visual Studio will do it for you, but it will just create an empty constructor. That's all. Maybe you can save some time of typing. So then I'm going to pass all these parameters. So employee number and the string ename, and date time. Let's say date time, and that is date of birth, and then double salary, let's say. Okay, and I'm going to fit them here. This dot emp number is equal to e number. Okay, done. And then this, let's start with this dot employee name. Remember this, the word this is optional, because Visual Basic can get what you are trying to do, unless and otherwise you have the same variable name. For example, if you have say this dot dob. Okay, now just for fun, I'm just doing it. Suppose if I had named this one also as dob, then you have to say this. The variable over here has the same name as the variable of the field name, and that is your internal name. Then you give the keyword this, otherwise Visual Studio can figure out that you are talking about with variable. Okay, but to make it proper, I'm going to just say that. So this is your salary. Okay, so what is that you are trying to do? So let's look at that. Okay. Now suppose you have this class. Let's say this class. Okay. Suppose you have a person whose employee name is 101, whose name is Rupa, and whose date of birth is let's say today 20/09/2023. Okay, let's assume that I am just giving a date, and let's say she is getting 25,000 salary or 26,000 salary. So you supply all these values here. So from the outside world you supply those values. So you supply these values. Okay, these values will be stored inside the class. So whatever value you are supplying, that will be stored inside the class. So whatever value you are supplying, this will be stored, and finally this will be stored. That is what you are doing. You take all the values from the outside world and then store it inside your class and then reuse it. That's simple as that. So you created the constructor and you supplied all the values and it is there. So this part is over. Let's go to the next part. And what did they say in the next part? A constructor is there and a method calculate. Okay, so let's create a method called as calculate. That's going to do the calculation for you, and it is not going to return anything back to me. So I'm going to create, if you want you can call it as private also, let's say public. Okay, and it is not going to return anything. The name of it is say calculate. That's the method. They said calculate, and you have this method that's not going to return anything. So what is this method is going to do? This method is going to calculate DA, H.R.A, gross, net pay, and so on and so forth. So let's all create these variables, and I'm going to just keep them inside here as a local variable. I'm going to call them as double. Let me zoom out for you. I'm going to call them as double, and I'm going to paste all of them DA, H.R.A, and this is not there in C#. So you have the double DA, H.R.A, P.F, IT, and so on and so forth. After that, let's see what is the next thing that we are supposed to do. So they say that if the basic is less than this much, and we are supposed to do. That means we need a if statement. If, where is my basic? Remember, basic is here. Okay, in the class, basic is not declared here, but basic is already there, and I have told you the values will be from the outside world. Values are stored here. I'll go here and then say basic. That is what they said. Basic is less than or equal to 20, less than or equal to 22,000. I think 20,000. If it is less than 20,000, what is that we are supposed to do? DA is 40%, H.R.A is 10%. Let's do that thing. So DA is 10 and 40. Suppose I just forgot. Okay, this is 40 and 10. 40 and 10. So this is 40. 40 is 0.04. You know, 40% of basic. And H.R.A is 10 is 0.1. So if you convert 10 by 100 is 0.1. 10% of basic. That's done. Two things are done. So this is 10%, 40% of basic. DA is 40% of basic. And they said that H.R.A is 10% of basic. But P.F is 12% of gross. It is not basic. That means we have to calculate the gross. What is gross? Gross is basics plus DA plus H.R.A. So we'll just copy this one. Let's see whether it is going to take it. Now this word gross is in capital, so I'm going to just make it in capital. By the way, C# is case sensitive, and because I have just copy pasted it, I have to remove these variables. This is the variable that I'm talking about. This is the variable that I'm talking about. I can put a dot here. This is the variable which is already declared. Okay, so they are not doing any magic. Those variables are there. That is why I'm able to calculate it. Then they said PF. PF is equal to, and what is that? PF is equal. PF is equal to 12% of gross. So that's what they said. So 12% is 0.12 is 12%. If you divide 12 by 100, this is the answer you are going to get it. So if you really didn't get it, what is that I'm doing is 12% is 12 divided by 100. Okay, use your calculator and you will surprised to know that this value is equivalent to 0.12. Okay, that is what I'm doing. So 12% of gross, this is what I'm going to do it. And the next one is the, what did they say, PT is so there is a typo here. So PT they have typed here and IT they have typed here. In fact both of them are same. This is professional tax, or you call it as income tax. It's one and the same. Okay, but the variable, if you are declaring, the variable name is not PT. The variable I have declared is IT. Okay, because they said calculate PADA and okay, should I make it as PT here? So just what is that? One letter is changing. Okay, that's it. PT. So let's look at this PT. PT is I think 100. PT is where is this PT? It is 100. Okay, done. We are done with it. Let's look at what if the basic is greater than this much. So let's look at that part. Okay, look at this one. The answer, this answer is, if it is less than 20,000 you are going to do. Otherwise what is it? Basic is not less than or equal to 2,000. Else what is basic? Otherwise the basic must be greater than. So I don't need to check again. Don't write else if basic is greater than. It's not the required, because see, if the basic is not less than or equal to 20,000, that means basic must be greater than 20,000. Is it not? It's as simple as that. So don't write the else if statement. The next else part is obvious. So because if it is not less than 20,000, obviously it must be greater than 20,000. Okay, so you have to calculate all these things, PADA and so on and so forth. I am not going to type all these things. I know Control C is there in Windows to copy, and I know Control V is there to paste. So you must know copy paste story. Don't keep the values as it is. The values are just changing. The first one is DA is 50%. So just go here and oh sorry, this is not the one, and make it as 0.5. That's it. Go to the second one, and HRA is 15%. So make it as 15 is 15. So that is it, 15%. Okay, 0.15. And what about the, you have already calculated it. The gross calculation will be same regardless of that. Gross is same. Professional tax is 12%. So here it was 12%. The previous case also 12%. Okay, so professional tax is 12% here, also 12% here. Okay, there is no change in the professional tax, I suppose. So they are not changing 12%. But the professional, sorry, it's not professional tax. This provident fund, PF is provident fund. Provident fund in both the cases is 12%. Here is also 12%. In the other case also 12%. But the income tax is 150. Income tax is only changing 150. By the way, I have not put the semicolon here. So let's put it. So your calculation part is over. And then they didn't said anything. After that they didn't said anything. But I have forgotten this part. That is net salary is equal to gross minus PT minus PF. So let's try to do that thing. I'm going to copy paste this. Remember, this is after, let me zoom out for you. So remember, this is your if statement. Your if statement has ended, and after that I am doing this. After if statement, I am going to calculate the net. Remember, the variable I have taken is net pay. So I am going to say net pay is equal to gross. The variable name must be same. C# is case sensitive, so you must be careful with that. So PF, I have taken it as PF. Yes, PF I have taken it. And why am I? Okay, so this is, if you try to copy paste it, it is not minus sign. Okay, so gross minus PT minus PF. Definitely in your examination you cannot do the trick that I am doing. You can copy something from your printed question paper and paste it over here, but I have the liberty of doing it. With that done, let me just print out all the values. So after this it is just displaying it. So I'm going to just double tab it, and I'm going to put slash en and dash 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 dash. So many dash, that's enough I think. And with that then double quotes. Okay, then I'm going to say CW, double tab it, and I'm going to say salary details, or salary details, because the word, the class name was this one, salary details. Let's do that, and I'm going to copy this line again, and I'm going to just paste it. Okay, that's it. And after this I'm going to say CW, employee number, EMP number, semicolon, then put a, so remember I put a space here. Remember, you put a space here, otherwise the number will touch this colon. Okay. Then the variable name was EMP number. This is the one. Now I'm going to type again, Control C and Control V, and the employee name, this will be EMP. Controls, remember, how do I get this one? Suppose if you're wondering how am I getting this, see, when you click here, control and space, so you remember this one, CTRL plus the space bar that you have. Just type CTRL and space bar, keep it here, and then control space bar, you get the option, double click and you are done with it. What's the next thing? So I don't have to copy it. Remember, once you copy it, Control C it is there in the clipboard. Just use Control V to paste it. Again and again, don't copy it. So then, sorry, what is the next thing? I think I have this date of birth. So DOB, okay, DOB is there. This is date of birth, DOB, date of birth, and then you have this basic. I think that was there, basic, and I have to say it is basic. Is it basic? Okay. Then I have to show Control V, and I have to just show, then what else we have, DA. Then I have to show this DA. Then I have to show H.R.A. H.R.A. Then I have to show H.R.A. That's it. Then I am supposed to show one more thing. Let me see that what else we have, H.R.A. and let me show the gross. Then I'm going to just show the gross salary. So this is gross. Then I'm going to show Control V. I'm doing Control V. Suppose if you're wondering what is this, how do this person is getting that thing. So it is CTRL plus V, provided you have copied it. Okay, I have already copied this line and it's there in the clipboard. I don't have to type it again and again. So gross, and we have PF, that is Provident Fund, and I'm going to just show that Provident Fund PF, and later let me go here, and Provident, that's what you get, Professional Tax PT, and you get this PT, and finally I'm going to say net salary. So net salary, okay, and you say net, I think, what did I say, net, or what is the name I gave here, NETPAY. Okay, so this was NETPAY, net pay, okay, pay in capitals. Okay, remember there is no need to write this in capital. By the way, I just copy pasted it, that is why I'm not changing it. Kindly note that if you write a variable, see, if you declare a variable all in capital, okay, if you declare like this to the entire world, it means you have declared a constant. This is ಬೈ ಕನ್ವೆನ್ಷನ್, ರೂಢಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದದ್ದು ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ಯಾವಾಗ ನೀವು ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಫುಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀತೀರಿ, ಅದು ಬೇರೆಯವರು ಅದನ್ನು ಏನಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದರೆ, ಅದು ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ನೆವರ್ ರೈಟ್ ಎ ವೇರಿಯೇಬಲ್ ಇನ್ ಆಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲ್ಸ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಮ್ whoever is reading it, they think that it is a constant. So constants are, it is not wrong for Visual C Sharp or for C Sharp or for any other programming language. It will not complain and say that you have written everything in capital. So it is allowed, but it by convention, what is a convention is, you don't write the variable name in all capitals. Okay, that's a convention, follow it. But because I just copy pasted it, I'm just using it. Use this lowercase letters. Is it going to create an error? No, unless provided you have a error in your code, then it may create it, otherwise it won't. Okay, so that done, I have done the code. Let me go to the program.cs. So let me click on this program.cs. Before I do it, just let me go and save this one. Remember, when you get this star, that means it is dirty and it is not saved. So click on it, the star vanishes. And if you have by mistake, if you have closed this program.cs, what you can do is go to the solution explorer and you will get this program.cs. Double click on it and it's going to come back. Okay, we are here now. Let me create the local variables for all these things, whatever you have created. So I need to create variables for all these things. So I'm going to just copy them. Again, I am a bit lazy. I'm going to just copy this, Control C from my salary class. I went to salary class and I said Control C, and I'm going to just copy it, Control C, Control V, I have pasted it. Okay, and what is that you are going to do? Okay, I am going to use CW and say enter, what is this, salary details. So let's say enter salary detail, and maybe CW, this is to make the code beautiful. Okay. Then I'm going to start CW. Remember, I will not use double tab. I don't want to right line because I want it to come in the same line. So I'm going to first, I'm going to say emp number, employee number, just to make the things. See, by the way, I put a space here, put a space, otherwise the number will touch that colon. Okay, then how do you read this one? So you say console dot read line, you say that. Okay, and you're going to read that one, and you are going to store it in emp number. Okay, and if you say that okay, I will do that thing, it's not going to work. You have created it as a int, so you have to say int dot parse. Okay, you have to pass this whole thing as integer. Okay, whatever you are reading, parse it as integer and store it in a integer variable. So that is what you are supposed to do it. Now I'm going to go here and I'm going to say select this one, 2 lines, Control C to copy, you know very well, Control V to paste it. Next one is employee name, so I'm going to say employee name, and what is this? Employee name is a string, there is no need to parse it. Okay, what you read is a string, so you just say console dot read line, but this is employee name. Okay, now again, some of you will say, should I put the underscore? The answer is, if you want, you put it. Just for fun, I'm going to remove this thing and I'm going to make it like this. It's not going to make a difference. Okay, this is variable. Nobody will ask you a question why you have created a variable called as emp name. I can call this as Satish also. It is up to me, variable name is up to me. No examiner will cross question why that you called it as a salary. If you want, you call that as a salary itself. Nobody has an objection for that. Suppose if you are getting like this, how I declared underscore is allowed, the answer is underscore is always allowed in the variable declaration. Now coming back, okay, to the next one, I'm going to, I think I've already copy pasted it. Control V, and what else you have? Date of birth. I'll just make it as DOB, and this is DOB. Okay, date of birth. So do you have this date time? That was it. Date time dot parse, and that is it. This is DOB. So variable name should be proper, because you know very well C# is case sensitive. Because I copy pasted it, I will have to copy it one more time, and the last one is the basic. I'm going to just say basic, and I'm going to say console.readline. Basic is double. You just change it, double dot parse. So if you didn't get it, what I'm doing is, see, double dot parse, and this is not DOB, this is basic. See, what is that I'm doing? If you're wondering what is that I'm doing, forget this lines. These are meant for output, so this doesn't make anything. You can write any blah 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 there. But what is that I'm doing? See, when I want this, look at this. Oops. Look at this Visual Studio. Show me. Okay. Look at this. So I have employee number here. Employee number, which is integer. Okay. When I read it, I get it as a string. I convert this one into integer. Can you see there, integer? Then I store it as a integer variable. So this is what I am doing. So I read in the second place over here. I read employee name, which is already in the string. Okay. So I simply store it in the string. Okay. Next, for the next variable, let me slightly see whether I can get it. Okay, so for the next variable, I read string here. This is string. When you say read line is a string, I convert it into, so this parse means convert it into date time. So I have date time, which is converted. Yes, a string is converted into date time, and I am going to store it as a date time. Look at the variable type, it is date time. In the same way, I read basic. So I first read it in the string, I convert it into double, and I then store it as a double variable. So I just convert them into appropriate type. Once that is done, let's create this salary class. So we need to create a class called as salary. So I'm going to say salary yes is equal to new salary. Okay, and I am supposed to provide all these things. What is the first thing that I am supposed to provide is a employee EMP number. EMP number, that's the first one. Then EMP name, that's the second one. Remember, these are the variable I just created. EMP number, EMP name, date of birth, basic, and I am going to supply them in the same order. So DOB is my next one, and the last one is basic is my next one. So this is where am I supplying it? I am supplying it to the constructor. So you wrote this constructor, I am supplying it. What is the next method you have? Calculate. Just call that method calculate. Okay. So yes dot calculate. Call this method yes. Everything will be there, and I am going to say console dot read key. This is same as your get ch. What you are writing in your C program, get ch. It is identical to that. It's going to stop it. Okay, save it, and let's give it a try. You can just run it, and when you run it, it may take some slightly longer time. You will get the console. If there is no error, I think there is an error. Okay, there is no error. Okay, if there is an error, it is going to say that there is an error. Otherwise, you are going to get it. That doesn't mean that I don't have an error in my code. So let's say employee number is 101, employee name I'm going to take my name itself, and date of birth I will take today's date, and today's date is 20/09/2023. I'm going to type that thing 20/09/2023. That's today's date. Basic salary is 25,000, which is greater than 20,000. Press enter and you get all the details. I think there was no need for me to put one slash extra slash I put. So this is the story, and you get all the basic DA, HR and so on and so forth. I'm going to just make one change over here. I have put slash n there right at the beginning. I will just remove that thing and rerun it. Just one correction, and that is when I print it, you notice there, for the first time it's okay because it let it come down. For the second time, when you print it, this dash 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 in the salary, I'm doing it in the salary. So in the salary I am not going to put this slash in, so that it comes closer. Okay, let me rerun it. So this is the run. So let me say the 102, and let's say Rupa, and she is also born in what was the date today, 19/09/2023. Okay, her basic salary is 15,000. Okay, press enter, and you notice that there was one extra space was there. I just removed that extra space, and rest part is, you can assume that I have not made a mistake. A logical mistake is there in the program, and it is going to run properly. With that, I'm going to close the exercise now. Thank you for your interest. We will meet again in the next class.